Okay, I got a whole bunch of calls asking my opinion about the Gaza hostage swap and Trump's 20-point peace deal to bring peace in our time. Here's my quick take on it. First, this isn't really peace. It's basically a hafsaka. It's a break in the fighting. At the end of the day, uh, we're going to end up fighting these people or similar people or allied people again and again and again, probably through the rest of our lifetimes and beyond. As I've said many, many times, if you look at the 450 years between Joshua and King Solomon, how many years of peace were there? Basically, about 45, and that's in the Bible. And so it's a pretty grim picture. The only because violent anti-Semitism isn't going anywhere at any time, at any point. The triumph of Zionism has been that we now have the ability to defend ourselves, to stop wholesale slaughter, and also to exact vengeance and retribution upon those who prey upon Jewish women and children and old people. Regarding the deal itself, uh, we really have no choice because aside from Trump and the United States and basically the Republicans, we have no other friends. And Trump wants what he wants. And it's understandable that he wants the war to end. And it's understandable that he'd like to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And the war is not good for business. Okay, it's not good for America's national security, and it ultimately, at a certain point, it brings diminishing returns for Israel's national security because the reservists are kind of exhausted. So what we have here is a situation where we're going to be swapping 250 hardened, convicted murderers, okay, and terrorist leaders, along with 1,700 Hamas activists that are being detained in Gaza, for about 20 living hostages and about 28, unfortunately, murdered hostages and their remains. Uh, Everybody wants to see these living hostages, especially the living ones, return to their families and to their lives from the hellholes of the Gaza dungeon. There's no question. The fact of the matter is that Bibi has no choice, and the Israeli government has no choice but to accept this deal because Israel has no other source for F-35 fighter jets. Israel has no other source for Patriot missiles and the like. It has no other source for a lot of the artillery ammunition that it needs. Israel's not militarily completely self-sufficient. And without the United States having its back, as we saw during the Biden administration, it can get pretty grim. So Israel has no choice but to agree to this. And unfortunately, as we learned from the Khalid Shalit prisoner swap, which was also on Bibi's watch, by the way, where they gave up 1,200 prisoners, including Sinwar and a whole bunch of his other colleagues, uh, for one hostage. Uh, we found out years later, or we saw years later, that 1,200 Jews were killed by many of these 1,200 released terrorists for Gilad. So we're going to have a situation where this will enable Hamas to lick its wounds, rebuild, bide its time, and in 4, 8, 12 years, whatever it is, we're going to end up having some sort of conflict and confrontation with Hamas again because they're not interested in coexistence. They're interested in eliminating our existence. But is there any other choice? No. And could this government say no to this deal? Absolutely not. There'd be millions of Israelis rioting in the streets uh, in opposition to the government turning down the deal, and it would have led to internal chaos in Israel. Almost all Israeli public opinion polls show well over 70% of Israelis are in favor of this deal. So, what do we get? We get a breather. We get to stay on Trump's good side, which is vitally important. And we get a chance also to regroup and rearm ourselves and maybe get a shot if Trump's 20-point peace plan can actually get implemented. Maybe, with God's good grace, see a demilitarized Gaza. And but we'll see what happens. So that's my take on the situation.